What's going on, guys? Ryan Nelson here, and if you're watching this, you're either my parents, hi mom and dad, how are you doing? Or you just recently purchased or you're looking into purchasing an on-camera monitor and you need to figure out how you're gonna mount this thing to your camera. This is something I've been struggling with, going back and forth, different pieces, different parts, going through different techniques on how to mount this up to different cameras. And I just wanted to share with you the best solutions I've found through this process. So there are many different options out there to attach your monitor to your camera safely and some unsafely, as we're gonna learn. So today I just wanted to walk you through my process, how I got to where I am now, and show you what I've learned along the way and what not to do. Now, all of these options I'm talking about in this video, I have linked down below in the description. So if you wanna check them out while I'm talking about them, they're right down there. So where I started with this, I'm thinking to myself, I want this to be low profile. I don't want some big bulky item holding this to my camera. So I bought this small ball head to mount the monitor. I was using a bigger monitor at the time, so this is working even less functionally. But this one, I cannot tighten this down enough, and this is still loose. So realizing that wasn't gonna work, I went out and I bought a bigger ball head, which had a bigger knob and was easier to crank down and tighten down. Very secure, very secure. But the problem here is I didn't have a cold shoe mount with it, so I thought, well, why not? I'll just steal the cold shoe mount off of this one, mount that to the bottom of this. Okay, there we go. Now I can mount that up to my camera, right? So now that I've got this all set up on here, I'm thinking, okay, I've got a bigger ball head on here. This is gonna work great. The problem is this is way smaller than this, and it's hard to get your fingers in there to really tighten this down. And then every time I really thought I had that tightened down, I would shift the camera in a different direction, the weight would shift, and this thing would literally just fall off or slide off or start to fall off. One time I almost lost the monitor and the ball head in a lake. So I realized that wasn't a really great solution, so I had to move on from there and figure out something else. So from there I did some more research, and then I came across, for this camera, a SmallRig, not quite a cage, it's not quite a cage, just some SmallRig mounts for the top. So after getting that SmallRig cage, what I ended up doing was buying this small little Manfrotto Magic Arm. This bolts straight to the SmallRig cage. So if you have a camera cage, it is a very secure option. It's not the lightest option by any means, but it is a very secure option and versatile option. Not the quickest and easiest to use, because you do have to physically have two hands to move and adjust this, but you can literally put this monitor in any position that you want. Generally, I kept it just nice and tucked down, monitor tilted up just a little bit, so when I hold the camera down, I can see it. Depending on which position you want, you can put that monitor in any position you like. It's not the fastest method to go about it, but it is definitely a very secure method. So the only downside of this one is you will need to carry a wrench to tighten these down, and you do need two hands to adjust it. It's really hard to adjust this with one hand effectively. I mean, it can be done, but it's not graceful, but it can be done. Okay, so what if you don't have a cage? Cages are big, cages are bulky, cages are more expensive. You may not have one, you may not want one, you may not need one. Or maybe you just want something that's a little bit easier to work with. Don't worry, there's some options out there, and there's some really good options, some of my favorite options. So two of my favorite options are pan tilt mounts, which there's one by SmallRig, which runs around $40 plus or minus a little bit, depending on where you find it. And my absolute favorite one, unfortunately, it is a very expensive option. It's $99. And that's the one from Atomos, this little Atom X thing. It's very low profile. It's quite strong, quite sturdy, and it's got a quick release plate, so you don't have to keep taking the mount on and off your monitor if it doesn't fit in your bag. So this is very low profile. This is gonna fit in your bag pretty nicely. So I'm actually a huge fan of that, even though it is a very expensive option. If you don't mind taking it on and off, I really enjoy this. These are both cold shoe mounts, which work with most cameras that have a cold shoe or hot shoe on the top. It also works with a lot of different handles. This one has a cold shoe on the back and a cold shoe mount on the front, which I find very useful for mounting because it's low profile, it doesn't stick out too far, and then you can just tilt it straight up with the monitor and it's good to go. And then the best part with either of these monitors, once you get it mounted up, the SmallRig I like because it's got a really nice big collar here with some grip. You can really tighten it down. And then the same thing with this one up here. If you want to tighten that down, you can just grab your Allen wrench again, stick that all the way through, and use that as leverage to really crank that down on there. The other really nice thing I like about this one is its ability to just one-handed easily rotate, tilt, back and forth. You get that monitor quickly, easily, in any position you want. And for the last option here, if you happen to own the Ninja 5 or the Shinobi and you're looking for a sunshade for it, I've got a pretty good option here. Let me grab that real quick. All right, so what I have here is a cage for my Ninja 5. It's by a company called Knights, and you can find this on Amazon. I've been using this for a couple weeks now. I find it to be really, really useful. And the thing about this is it comes with a cage for the Ninja, comes with a sunshade, and it also comes with a mount, which is also a pan tilt mount. It works pretty good, but it's not my favorite mount because it's not quite as low profile as the SmallRig or the Atom X, but it does seem to hold the monitor just fine. It does stand up a little bit taller. Like I said, not as low profile. That's a drawback for me because I try to keep my rig as small and low profile as possible, but it is an option if you're looking for a cage and a sunscreen as well. Highly recommend it. It also comes with this nice little cable clamp, so when you plug your HDMI, it doesn't get yanked out, can't get tweaked. So to summarize our options here, we can go with a ball head, which is probably the most obvious choice. It's what we're all familiar with. That's why I started off with a ball head. I think ball heads are really useful, but I don't find them very useful for this application. That being said, if you do want to get a ball head, this one from SmallRig, I'll link that down below. It's kind of an inexpensive option. I think this is under $20. It comes with a gold shoe mount. It feels nice and solid when you crank that down. It's pretty stable. It's not my favorite though. If I was gonna use a ball head, I'd probably go with something like this Manfrotto, which I know is gonna be quality. It's gonna tighten down when I want it to. And this is the Manfrotto 492, and it doesn't come with a cold shoe mount, so you're gonna have to find some sort of cold shoe mount. I'm just not a fan of ball heads for this application. And then another option is get a camera cage, or if you already have a camera cage, get a Manfrotto arm, a magic arm. Again, this is another application where I've used the knockoff brands or the unknown brands, and I find them just not to work nearly as well as these. I know they're a little bit more expensive, but they work. They're gonna hold your camera, they're gonna hold your monitor, just spend the money on it. And this particular one is the Manfrotto 244 Micro. It's nice compact size. I do have the next size up from this as well. It's about yay long. That one works as well if you need a little bit more extension or a little bit more range to move that camera monitor around. That being said, I like to keep things as small and light and compact as possible. This one, it's not small and light and compact, but it is the smallest, lightest, most compact arm that I could find that I knew was gonna work. And the third option, which I find to be just the best option, are these tilt swivel mounts, cold shoe mounts. You could even mount an arm to that if you want, because there's a 1/4 mount in the bottom of these. And this one, especially with the quick release plate, just makes getting that monitor on and off really quick, really simple, really easy. I feel like these are solid. They're super, super low profile. So compared to this ball head that's actually shorter, easier to use, one-handed operation. I love these little tilt swivel mounts. I really like the one from Atomos. It's just that quick release, man. That's got me sold. It's so much easier. Easier, quicker, low profile. That's what I dig. And if you just need a simple, cheap adapter, you can just get a cold shoe post adapter. They're not very versatile. You can do your monitor this way, but that's about it. So if you're shooting down low or you're shooting up high, it's gonna be harder to see the screen, but you can find these for under $10 anywhere. Amazon, B&H, link that down below. All right guys, well that's what I have for you today. I hope you liked this video. I hope you find it useful, informative, anything like that. If you did, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button down there. If you don't like it, you're probably not still watching it. And if you don't like it and you're still watching it, hit that thumbs down. And right next to that, there's a red button. It says subscribe. Hit that too. You know, why not? Why not do it? hit that subscribe button anyway. No matter what you think of this video, if you're still watching this, go down there, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.